He mentioned blind date. You know, that's how he met his wife, on a blind date. By applause, anybody else here been on a blind date? Anybody? Oh, you've been on a blind date, sweetie. Okay, tell everybody your name.
Lynn.
Lynn. Okay. Lynn, how was your blind date?
Well, the very first one I ever went on, I married, so I learned that.
Wow.
I rest my case. I went on a blind date, and it was a friend of a friend kind of thing, and she said she liked me, and I didn't know. I said, well, what does she look like? And they said she's got a magnetic personality. Yeah. And so I went and I picked her up and knocked on her door. She was huge. It was more like a gravitational pull thing.
Jesus Christ. Oh my
And
God.
so I took her out to eat because I figured, hell, she's good at it. Why not? And she's real sweet. She was a real nice girl. She was real sweet. And but she had these really big arms. Have you seen that? Really big arms. These big arms. And she had a tattoo on her arm. Well, it's more like a mural kind of.
The last summer.
Yeah, mural. It was the Lord's Supper, okay? She had the Lord's Supper on her arm. And every time she'd move her arm, it looked like all the apostles were chewing.
Oh my God.
That's what happened to me. Anyway, you ready for your next comic? Next guy coming to the stage, good friend of mine. He lived in the Midwest, and they made him leave. And he lived in the Midwest for a little period of time. He's been doing comedy off and on for a long time. Very funny. Put your hands together for Mr. Steve Guentner. Give it up for Michael. Stage show.
Great to be here tonight. Thank you all for coming. I am a 64-year-old nerd. Thank you very much. Something sad happened to me recently. I got shingles. This is really, it's really sad because I just couldn't afford the aluminum siding. All right, we're paying attention. This is a good start. They say your 60s are your go-go years. I can sure attest to that because I go-go all the time. My wife said, go to the doctor. So I went to the urologist and I described my problem. And he said, you need to stop drinking alcohol, caffeine, and eating spicy foods. So I came home and my wife said, so what did the doctor say? I said, there's not a damn thing I can do about it. So, I don't know if you saw the Cialis commercial earlier this year, but they were actually advertising Cialis not only for ED, but BPH, which is frequent urination. So I thought, I'll try anything. I was desperate. So it works for the ED. It doesn't work for the BPH. And I was very disappointed. And not only that, now every time I use a public urinal, I have to stand way back. Well, just a foot. Not too far. So I live in Irvine. We got some Irvinites here, a couple, yeah. Well, for those of you who aren't from the area, if you have any trouble finding Irvine on your GPS device, just look for the beige spot. Okay, it's very boring. It's controlled by the homeowners associations. It's a master plan community. Life is very boring in Irvine. As an example, they passed a law last year banning fortune tellers. Yeah, it's terrible. Next day, my stockbroker left town. So, yeah. In Irvine, we passed a milestone recently. The #1 ethnicity in Irvine is now Asian Americans. That's right. And there's a lot of them. In fact, in my neighborhood, there's so many Asian Americans that the homeowners association says you can only have one child per family. They are tough, I tell you. I'm worried about earthquakes, all these natural disasters, fires, hurricanes. So I'm worried about earthquakes. So what do you need in an earthquake besides water? Food. So I bought a cow. The homeowners association was not too happy with me until I painted them beige. They were okay. I got pulled over for drunk driving in Irvine recently. The cop, rolled down my window, and the cop says, "What's your name?" And I said, "Steve." And he said, "Steve who?" And I said, "No, that's my neighbor. You know him? He's on the homeowners association." Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Took me a minute, but
Don't force it. Don't force it. So anyway, that's Irvine. We have any magazine readers? National Geographic magazine. Anybody? People know what that is, right? Yeah, great magazine. So I get the magazine. Every once in a while, they publish an article where they discovered some really old skull in Africa, and next to it they'll have a picture of a painting of what that person might have looked like if they had skin and hair on, So I'm sitting in a bar the other day, and I noticed this really attractive woman, and I'm looking at her, and she had very striking features, and I'm thinking to myself, I wonder what her skull looks like. Oh, yes. And then they have articles like about global warming. How many people are worried about global warming? Anybody? Nobody? Good. I think it's a waste of time. There's a bigger problem. Did you know that 65% of the people in this world are lactose intolerant?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why aren't we worried about the global fart buildup? God. Online dating. So I have a question because I've never done it. I've been married for a long time. Back to the dinosaur ages. What's with the swiping left and swiping right? Who can tell me what that is all about? You swipe left if you like somebody, you swipe right if you don't. Is that how it works? Nobody knows? Okay. Well, I've heard about this. People think that the millennials think they've invented this stuff. It's not true. Back in the 70s, they had singles magazines, much like this one. And you put ads in them, and then you buy the magazine, and you would read the ad. So I would pick up the magazine, being a desperate kind of guy. And I'd read the ads, and swipe left. And I'd read those ads, and if they weren't any better, just swipe right. So I see we've been doing it for decades. That's a long way to go for that. So, but the technology's everywhere, right? We got computers in our pockets, we got self-driving cars and trucks now, but it's not everywhere, and I'll give you a proof. Why is it when you get in an elevator in a two-story building, you still have to tell it where to go? Shouldn't it know? Anybody here freaks out when an elevator gets stuck? Yeah. This happened to me once. I was in a two-story building. The elevator got stuck between the first and second floor, and there's this lady in the elevator with me. And she starts freaking out. I'm like, lady, calm down. We're 5 feet off the ground. Jeez. So, but I'll tell you, and people just can't put down their phones, can they? I mean, they're at the restaurants, just in the cars. This actually happened. I was in a restroom once, and the guy's doing this next to me at the urinal. I looked at him. I said, I can't do that. He said, what, text and pee at the same time? I said, no, hold myself with one hand. Thank you very much. No. Is that my wife clapping? So, yes. Food, I love food. We got a lot of food lovers, I'm sure, since we all need it to live. So every country has a unique cuisine, right? Like Japan has sushi. Italy has pasta in hundreds of shapes and sizes. What do we got in America? Banana bread. Couldn't we do better? You take bread, you stick a mushed up bowl of banana in it. That's the best we can do. No, I think not. My wife and I were cooking the dinner the other night together, and I'm chopping vegetables and we're drinking wine, which is always good to do when you're handling sharp utensils. And we're having a good time, and finally I looked up to my wife and I said, honey, it's time to toast the nuts. So she raised her glass, she said, honey, you got the nicest nuts I've ever seen. And have you ever gone into an ethnic restaurant and wondered how authentic it is? I mean, we all do that, right? You go into a Mexican place, you have a nice Mexican meal. How authentic was it? Or an Italian place? So I went to this place the other day, and it says it was Japanese barbecue. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't authentic Japanese barbecue, because I walked up to the counter, the guy behind the counter, he says to me, so, you want a brisket or a hot rings? Okay. All right. That's a new one. Oh, yes. They've been married 31 years. Still trying to catch up to Bob. Yeah, it's going well. We went and celebrated. We went out to Morongo Casino recently to celebrate. Anybody been out there? Yeah, it's fun. Got a great restaurant on the top. Really good restaurant. We were just there for the day. The casino was really nice, but I was a little disappointed in the hotel because they wouldn't rent us a room by the hour. So we could, take a nap. So yeah, it's been great, 31 years. My wife wanted to redecorate the bedroom recently. That's the kind of stuff you do after 31 years. So we go to a department store, and I'm looking at this bed, and on top of the bed, there's this really ornate-looking pillow with a $200 price tag on it. And I said to my wife, honey, what is that? And she said, that's a sham. I said, well, I can tell that, but what the hell is it? And she wanted me to repaint the bedroom too, which I haven't painted in ages. So I get on Amazon, I'm looking for books on painting, and I found some. And you know how they have, next to the book you're looking for, there's people that bought this book also bought, right? Yeah. So next to it said people that bought this book also bought 50 Shades of Grey. Well, I'm like, gray's a cool color. So I read that whole book. You know what? There's not a paintbrush in the whole damn thing. So, but I did get some good ideas. So yeah, that book is a mess. I mean, it's so unbelievable. They talk about the man, dominating the woman and all this crap. I tell you, if you meet a guy who's been married for 31 years, he is not in charge of nothing. Nothing. I tried, after 31 years, we first got married, the sex was great. We were doing it once a month. It's fabulous. But, so lately we needed to spice things up, so one day I said to my wife, hurt me, honey, hurt me. And she did. She took her purse and went shopping at Fashion Island. Just about killed me. I had my 64th birthday recently. She gave me a birthday spanking, just about killed me. Okay, I'll drop that one. Just threw that one in. So the other night, my wife cooked me a really nice meal, and I was really appreciative. So I said, honey, you know what? You can have anything you want in the bedroom. And that didn't go as planned. Because now in our bed, we have this really ornate-looking pillow. So, yeah. Been thinking lately about what happens when that time comes. Do I want to be buried or cremated? Okay, this is a question we all eventually have to face. And the reason I started thinking about this, I got this thing in the mail. I actually did. It's called Smart Cremations. You can look it up. And they're affordable. It's economical. It's easy to do. And they even have travel protection. So I guess if you die and you're on the road, they'll cremate you and mail your ash home. Most people don't know this, but the woman that wrote the first crockpot cookbook actually specified in her will that she wanted to be cremated. It took 8 hours on the low setting. Thank you very much. I'm Steve Guentner. Thanks for coming out.
Give it up for Steve Guentner!
Yep.